Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, dear friends, and thank you, Ambassador, for that great introduction. It's great to be here. It's a cloudy day in Washington, D.C., but I would say in this room the sun is shining for many reasons. I will tell you first, it's just good to be back with friends, but I think a new day is dawning for the cause of a liberated, stable, free, independent Iran, free of the rule of the mullahs. That's my feeling, and I will predict it today. First, I want to start with a story that follows on Senator McCain. I went out to Phoenix to be with John on election night, and really it was a hard campaign, so the victory was very sweet. And when we were preparing to go out to the big hall where John was going to declare victory and accept the results, they asked me to go out, and they introduced me, and the reaction of the crowd was way beyond my expectation. The people in the front of the crowd there were jumping up and down and waving, and I thought, gee, I didn't realize I was still so popular in Arizona. Then I looked a little more closely, and it was all members of the Iranian-American community who had come from all over the country to help Senator McCain. The second thing to say, just to briefly echo, is that since we last gathered here, the residents of Camp Ashraf have been liberated. Make no mistake about it, their liberation was a victory over the Islamic Republic of Iran. So that's another reason why I think the sun is shining on this movement today. The final reason I want to cite is that there was an election here in the United States, and elections have consequences, and I must be very upfront. For those who don't know, I supported Secretary Clinton's candidacy. But I will tell you, when it comes to Iran, that the change from the Obama administration to the Trump administration is, I think, a hopeful one. President-elect Trump has been very clear about what he thinks of the Iran nuclear agreement. It is, in his normally restrained language, a disaster. And I, of course, agree very much. He has said that in the worst of all cases, he's prepared to tear it up. But he's certainly prepared to renegotiate it. Now we go to a new administration, not protective or defensive of the Iran nuclear agreement, but ready to challenge it. And I hope ready to challenge Iran on its domestic policies as well, on its expansionism and on its support of terrorism. I want to thank each and every one of you, many of you coming from around the country to Washington today to be part of this meeting and assert that you are part of the resistance to the status quo in Iran. In doing so, I want to say that you are not just attending a meeting. I believe you've chosen to become part of history, not to sit passively by, but to act in the long, proud history of patriotic and courageous people who have fought and achieved their freedom, often against very big odds. Together, we're engaged now in a historic struggle to liberate the people of Iran, a great nation with a proud history and culture, from the evil regime that is holding those people, that history, and that culture hostage. Although the regime we're fighting in Tehran is led by religious people, it is, in my opinion, doing so much that I would call profoundly sacrilegious. It is denying the people of Iran the human rights that most religions, including Islam, and certainly we in America, as expressed in our Declaration of Independence, believe are the direct endowment from our Creator, from God. That's why Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin declared long ago that, and I quote, "resistance to tyrants is obedience to God." And that's the sense in which I understand the title of this organization, the National Council of Resistance of Iran. In resisting the current regime in Iran, we've got to be realistic. We can't close our eyes to what they do or our ears to what they say. It's almost a year now since the Iran nuclear agreement was activated, almost a year and a half since it was signed. But I ask you, has anything about Iran's behavior changed? No, it has not. Iran, under the alleged but not real moderate Rouhani, has, as Senator McCain said, Ambassador Reese said, already violated terms of the Iran nuclear agreement, in real substantial terms. The limits on the development of heavy water, the development of ballistic missiles, contrary to a United Nations resolution which embraces the Iran nuclear agreement. Iran, under Rouhani, continues to directly support and carry out, as Madam Rajavi said so powerfully a few moments ago, what I would call genocide in Syria. It continues to violate the sovereignty of the neighboring countries of the region. Iran, under Rouhani, continues to fund and train violent extremist terrorists in the Middle East and beyond. Iran, under Rouhani, continues to punish and imprison Iranians who speak their minds against the regime or just with independent ideas. As you well know, unprecedented numbers of citizens of Iran have been executed under this allegedly moderate regime. Those who have negotiated with the regime and trusted its representatives, those who work with them, I believe, have deceived themselves and in the process endangered the rest of us, including particularly the people of Iran. Their hopes blind their eyes to the truth. Nothing has changed in Iran under Khamenei and Rouhani. In fact, there is a good argument to be made that things have gotten worse. Congress has been the bulwark, the foundation on a truly bipartisan basis of support for freedom in Iran and a change of regime in Iran. And just in recent days, weeks, but even days, Congress returned to the bipartisan ground on Iran policy and extended the Iran Sanctions Act with overwhelming bipartisan support. I think that's a very hopeful sign and gives us open territory and responsive ears as we make our case for more sanctions, for support for a tough administration policy against the Islamic Republic of Iran, and for support of ultimately a change of regime. I suppose it's possible that this regime could become a democratic regime that respects the rule of law. But as Senator McCain might say in his own colorful fashion, on the day that happens, pigs will fly. So don't hold your breath until that happens. So I say to you that a new day has dawned. And for the reasons I've cited, the work that you've done for a long time has brought us to a point where we can have some hope. You have a very strong movement under a remarkably gifted, thoughtful leader, Ms. Rajavi. Her leadership, the proof of this is the extent to which her leadership has sustained this movement through very difficult times, and it remains strong and resilient. History is on your side and our side, and she presents a face to the world, a religious woman, a woman of Islamic faith, who is open, who is progressive, who is tolerant, who wants Iran to return to its place in the community of civilized nations. I want to just say a final personal word to you. I know as much as you believe in your cause as I do, you must ask yourselves sometimes, is it really possible that the regime in Iran, with its growing wealth and its growing military strength, can actually be stopped and overturned? And I'm here to tell you, based on history, that it can. I've always been inspired by the words of the anthropologist Margaret Mead, who said, "Never underestimate the capacity of a small group of ordinary citizens to change the world. In fact, it's the only way it's ever happened." And remember what Dr. King said, "The moral arc of the universe often bends slowly, but it always bends toward justice." Thomas Paine, a leader of the American Revolution, said to his fellow revolutionaries when they rose up against the mighty British Empire, which was the superpower of its day, "We have it in our power to begin the world once again." And against all odds, they did. They defeated the British Empire. The independent nation of America was created in order to secure the rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And so, too, I predict to you today that the evil empire that now rules the good people of Iran will also collapse, and it will happen in our time. Iran will once again be free. Thank you very, very much.